Hey guys, it's Shayna with Bear Creek Arsenal. Today, we're going to talk about something super exciting and important for any gun enthusiast. And that's how to build an accurate, reliable, yet still affordable AR-15. Now, I'm not going to dive into the core details of assembling parts step by step, but instead, we'll be sharing key tips, advice, and lessons we've learned through the years. I got all these tips from experienced builders both at our company and around the industry. So whether you're building from scratch or simply assembling the major components, you're going to learn a lot of great information that will save you hours of research and frustration. Ways to build an AR-15. First things first, when it comes to building an AR-15, there are two main ways to go about it, and each has its own set of pros and cons. First up, you can source each part individually. This option gives you complete control over every aspect of your build. So whether you want the high-end barrel or the specialized handguard, you can make it happen. So on the upside, this gives you the opportunity to fully customize your build from the ground up. You'll have the flexibility to choose the best components for your needs, whatever those might be. For the tinkerers going this route, we offer a full range of stripped lower and upper receivers, lower part kits, barrels, and much more to make sure your scratch build is a breeze to put together, no matter what direction you decide to take. However, scratch building can also get expensive quickly, and there's a lot of research required to make sure everything is compatible. While AR-15 parts are largely standardized dimensionally, you can still run into some weird issues, especially if you wind up building a Frankenstein gun out of components from 20 different manufacturers. On top of that, you're also going to need to know what you're doing with assembly. If you don't have the right tools or knowledge, it can lead to some major headaches. Trust me on this one. If this is your first time venturing into the world of AR builds, you might find yourself a bit overwhelmed trying to figure out what's what. And that's okay, we all start somewhere. On the other hand, you can go the route of buying major components pre-assembled, like an upper and lower receiver. This is a faster way to get your AR-15 up and running without getting bogged down in the technical details. Obviously, buying pre-built components is quicker, simpler, and requires less expertise. You can often get a complete upper or lower from a reputable brand and you're ready to shoot in no time. For those looking to get some trigger time ASAP, Bear Creek Arsenal offers a huge variety of pre-built, pre-assembled upper and lower receivers to make sure your time spent diving into technical specifications is kept to a minimum. And even better, you've still got the flexibility to choose barrel length, handguard style, and even what caliber the rifle is chambered in. That being said, the downside is you're somewhat limited in your options as compared to building from the ground up. And if you want to tweak or upgrade specific parts, you'll essentially be buying them twice. You also won't learn as much about your rifle if everything comes pre-built. So keep in mind that everything is a give and take. So whether you're going full DIY or opting for major components, it all comes down to your level of experience and how much customization you want. Both methods will get you a reliable AR-15, but one will take more time, knowledge, and potentially money. Fortunately, no matter what route you decide, Bear Creek Arsenal has you covered. Tools you need to build an AR-15. Let's talk about tools, because the right tools will save you from a world of frustration when you're building your AR-15. Trust me, there's nothing worse than getting halfway through a build and realizing you don't have the right wrench. While there shouldn't be any specialized tools involved in just slapping an upper and lower receiver together, if you're starting from the ground up, it can get a bit tricky. Here's a quick rundown of what you'll need. First of all, an armorer's wrench. This is your go-to tool for tightening barrel nuts, castle nuts, muzzle devices, and more. A standard in every gun owner's toolbox. You can keep the hassle to a minimum and grab your very own BCA armorer's wrench on our website while purchasing your other components. Next, a roll pin punch set. This is for those who want dedicated tools for driving in the small roll pins that hold parts in place across your AR. While not strictly necessary, having the correct size pin punches on hand is going to help speed up your build process and ensure you don't damage or mar the finish of your receiver during assembly. You'll also need a bench block. This is a handy tool to hold your receiver in place without damaging it while you hammer things together. While there are a few different types and manufacturers of bench blocks, the biggest selling point is that the slots and cutouts are clearly labeled, allowing you to orient the receiver in the exact position necessary to punch pins in or out with speed and precision. Another essential tool you need is a vise block. especially important for holding your receivers in place while working on or installing certain components. For example, an upper receiver vice block is going to utilize your upper takedown pin slots to lock the receiver into a sturdy block that can be inserted directly into a vice clamp, which ensures stability while applying the appropriate level of torque to lock your barrel assembly into place. A lower receiver vice block generally looks somewhat like an AR magazine, and it's inserted into the magazine well to allow you to work on your buffer, pistol grip, or other lower receiver components from a stable position. A crucial tool for ensuring you don't over-tighten or under-tighten key components like the barrel nut or muzzle device is a torque wrench. A torque wrench allows you to apply the exact amount of torque recommended by the manufacturer, preventing potential damage to your parts and ensuring optimal performance. Without a properly torqued barrel nut, for example, your accuracy could suffer, or worse, you could cause long-term wear issues. Trust me, investing in a torque wrench will save you from a lot of headaches down the line. If you're building your AR-15 from scratch, it's definitely worth the effort to invest in these tools up front. You'll thank yourself later, we promise. Top tips for building an AR-15. Sorry for the interruption, guys. Now, let's dive into the core of the video, the top tips for building an AR-15 that's both accurate and reliable. My first tip is start with a plan. Before you even think about buying parts, ask yourself, what do I want this rifle to do? Are you building for precision, home defense, competition, or plinking? Your purpose will guide your choices. For example, a general plinking build allows for much more flexibility compared to a precision rifle, which is not well suited to cover the specific needs of a firearm designed for home defense. While there's absolutely nothing wrong with building a generalized rifle, it's unrealistic to think you're going to build a do-it-all rifle that excels in every possible situation. Think long and hard about what you want before you start buying components. If you need help on what caliber to buy or barrel lengths to consider, check out the description below where we'll put some videos with more information. Secondly, remember that money doesn't equal skill. Many novice shooters incorrectly assume that spending big bucks on their build is automatically going to make them a better shooter by default. While it's definitely important to ensure that quality is a central focus of any new AR endeavor, in our experience, the vast majority of shooters aren't going to be limited by the overall accuracy of their rifles until they've got thousands upon thousands of rounds downrange. If it's your first time, there's nothing wrong with picking up pre-built components and drilling the fundamentals until they're second nature. Money spent on unnecessary build components early could be invested in classes that correct mistakes in your shooting form and mechanical skills that you may not even realize you have. Similarly, more expensive products don't always mean better. Be sure to do your research and don't assume a product is good just because it's expensive or bad simply because it's affordable. Tip number 3. Is your gun too wobbly? A common question we get from new AR owners is just that. There's some wobble between my upper and lower receivers. Is that bad? Did I do something wrong? The good news is no. A little bit of play between your components is perfectly normal. Because an AR-15's barrel is locked securely inside the upper receiver, which is also where your bolt carrier group is located, a small amount of lower receiver wobble isn't going to affect either your accuracy or reliability in any appreciable way. If you find this distracting, however, you can always purchase aftermarket components like an AccuEdge that eliminates the wobble, though this is more for peace of mind than anything else. Alternatively, ensuring you've got a matched upper and lower receiver is a great way to ensure that receiver play is kept to a minimum. And BCA components will fit together snugly to give you that peace of mind when you're out on the range. My fourth tip is to train with the setup you'll be using the most. While there's absolutely nothing wrong with making sure you're familiar with how to take accurate, controlled shots with your rifle's iron sights, there seems to be this pervasive idea that you must qualify as an expert marksman before you're allowed to think about purchasing an optic. And for us, that's just not practical. Sure, there's something to be said for being comfortable with your backup irons if your red dot sight is down, or if you forgot to pop in fresh batteries before range day. But in my book, it makes far more sense to use the effort, time, and money spent on range trips to develop that second nature familiarity with the optic of your choice. This next tip is crucial. Make sure to use the right torque. Both over-tightening and under-tightening parts is a huge mistake. If you're building your rifle from the ground up, ensuring that all components are tightened down to the appropriate specification is easily the most important aspect of ensuring that your rifle is accurate and reliable straight from the get-go. Mistakes to avoid. Now, let's get into what not to do when building your AR-15. These are some of the most common mistakes I see, and they can make the difference between a gun that runs flawlessly and one that jams on every shot. Mistake number 1 is improper lubrication. This gets missed all the time. Your AR-15 needs a decent amount of lube to keep running smoothly, especially around the bolt carrier group. That said, it doesn't need to be drenched in oil. A light coat is all you need on the key areas such as rails, bolts, and the cam pin. Too little and your rifle may jam. Too much and you're attracting dirt and gunk. Mistake number 2 has to do with optimizing your barrel length, twist rate, and projectile weight. This is a big one. Your barrel length and the weight of your projectiles need to match your intended application. If they don't, you could be opening Pandora's box of easily avoidable problems. Obviously, a longer barrel may be great for long-range precision, but it's not ideal for home defense. But for a deep dive into the best barrel lengths for a given AR setup, you can check out this video here. Mistake number 3 is neglecting to clean the rifle thoroughly after shooting. One of the biggest mistakes new AR owners make is not cleaning their rifle after a trip to the range. The AR-15 can handle a lot, but it's not invincible, especially when it comes to carbon buildup and fouling. Be sure to clean your bolt carrier group and chamber regularly to keep it running smoothly. It's simple. Maintenance that'll make your rifle last longer and stay reliable. Over-accessorizing your rifle is another common pitfall when building an AR-15. We get it. The AR-15 is the Honda Civic of the gun world, meaning you can customize it like crazy. But here's the thing. Just because you can add accessories doesn't mean you should. Do you really need a bipod on your home defense build? Or a laser and flashlight combo on a rifle you only use for long-range shooting? Keep your rifle balanced for its purpose. Over-accessorizing can make it heavy, cumbersome, and less fun to shoot. Start with the basics and add accessories as you figure out what you actually need for your setup. The last common mistake I'll cover is improper gas block alignment. Misaligning the gas block is a frequent issue for new builders. If the gas block isn't lined up correctly with the gas port on the barrel, the rifle may not cycle properly, leading to failures to eject or feed. Take your time aligning the gas block, or if you're unsure, consider using an adjustable gas block to fine-tune your rifle's performance. BCA's own Superlative Arms adjustable gas block does just that, by ensuring that you've got the ability to correct your rifle's ejection pattern if need be. Alright guys, there you have it. My top tips and things to avoid when building an accurate, reliable AR-15. Whether you're sourcing each part or buying major components, the key is to focus on quality, use the right tools, and make sure your build meets your needs. Drop your questions in the comments below. And as always, hit that like button if you found this video helpful. See you next time.